Yeah? You get the lesson that you give to the person. So we could just both be more centered. Huh? Mm. Mm. So we're going to do Larry again. Oh, I've got the handouts I've got to give you. Here they are. Elizabeth, do you mind giving them out? So these are just the same thing for Larry too. Yeah? Not definitive. No? To be used as an idea. Definitively as an idea. Mm. 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 Ah. His center is just now his center. Yeah. Huh. Look, it's just a really interesting thing, you know. What do we call proximal distal? Yeah. It's a constantly changing theme. Yeah. What proximal distal was? Midline. And it's that ongoing idea of, you know, Narayan just moves so beautifully across the ground. I mean, if I could do what he did, I'd love him to give me a lesson on how he moves across the ground so beautifully, you know. And it's also interesting because when Narayan moves in his torso, it's the whole shape of his torso that's his center. So he's got movement through it. But this is, and so how do we do that? So this becomes the periphery, the outside, and we give him a deeper sense of center within the periphery of his torso, which is what the lesson was about. So, you know, this proximal distal that I haven't put up there, but it's huge. It's another, or did I put it up? Yes, I did. Proximal distal's huge. Huh? Again, as an organizing idea, what we're trying to show someone about their understanding. So what we're going to do this afternoon with Larry is, again, I've got the aims and the strategies. We're not going to go too much into that. We've got up to basically the end of the 4th section on the 2nd page. Yeah. Which is what we've done with Larry. And you can see what I've got after that. The above could be a complete lesson in itself without adding anything else. You know, keeping the person's, because that's what we're doing in Larry. We're virtually using the disc. We're keeping this stable for him. We're holding this so he can move over that hip joint to find that all of this can become more available. We're not letting him roll around too much. Does that make sense? We're really much more saying, there's that underneath hip. We're going to stay over it, not roll off it or on it. We're going to stay over it and see, does that allow us to find, so it's bell hand again as well. Yeah. What does that allow me to find by gently keeping one part a little bit more stable, but that he's absolutely got support on the hip? That's what Larry still needs at the moment. Narayan was a whole different thing. He knows how to use his hips and shoulders. So for his lesson, it's like, you know that. How can you come in and take weight in the middle? You know, how can we get the weight through here to start finding your center? So that's what you always, what am I doing? What does the person need? What are the possibilities? So what I thought we'd do this afternoon is get you doing this on a new person. Yeah, not the person you've been with, but do it on a new partner as if this is a lesson in itself. So you're going to have 40 minutes to do it. And to think about, what would I do at the beginning or ending of this lesson? And there's a million things you can do. What's this lesson showing someone? You're looking a bit blank. So let's brainstorm. What could I do? What could be a movement? So this might be a lesson about, you know, I've come in and I get really tired at the typewriter. Oh, at the typewriter. My God, how long since I used a typewriter? I get really tired at the computer. What's it telling me? Usually, yeah. But we don't want someone doing this on a at the computer, do we? Just rolling off here and rolling off there. They've got to have this firm foundation at the bottom that lets all of this get free, that lets this have possibilities of reaching over there and reaching over there and reaching here and reaching there. So that could be one thing it's about. Showing someone that not only are their arms more connected to their torso, but they're in this way that they're keeping all this stability down in their pelvis and legs. What else could you do? Just the same lesson. So we could do it through the arms, couldn't we? Yeah, what else could we do? Could we come back to the head again? Yeah, maybe showing them that they've got that, again, adaptability to shift their weight in different ways, that this is supporting them. Their hips are there, they can go back a bit, but they're not losing this nice ground they've got. Yeah. Reaching. Yeah. What's the difference if I keep my ground when I'm reaching? How much more of me becomes available, which is what all of you were getting at the end of the lesson this morning with Margaret, rather than I have to do a big weight shift to shift my ground. There's something about this position that's allowing Larry to get more adaptability through his torso. Folding forward where I've got lots of stability, yeah? That these are here for me. So I've got all of these different, so I'm not there and pushing into the floor as soon as I've gone forward. So it's a lot about this shift of weights, isn't it? This ability not to push, to have stability, not to push, to have all this ability up in here. So what I've got in here, you know, we're continuing with this contact, the moving across the ground on the underside to allow the upper side to get more space, to get out of its habitual anti-gravity pattern. We're finding left and right. So we're getting, so the first lesson we were doing a lot, we started doing a few across the thing, but now Larry's having to find asymmetry in his flexors and extensors, yeah, that all of these are really starting to change shape through here, that they've got to respond to each other. But we're doing that through keeping the length in his torso, keeping the possibilities open. We're using his hips and shoulders as ball and socket joints. So for Larry, because he hasn't got a lot of give in here, we're going to use those hips and shoulders as really easy ways that he can transfer his weight. And it's a really common pattern. So you might, older people especially. My grandmother, sort of nothing moved much in here as she got older. So she was really clever. How she walked was this. Didn't have to move much in the middle. But she did have free hips, and here she could transfer her weight. Huh? It was very clever because she'd connected this to give a ground. Just try it. It's very clever. So she's just sort of got her hands resting on the back of her pelvis. Feel how that just gives you freedom in your upper torso. And then off she'd go. Problem is, if she wanted to change direction, she had to take a lot of steps to change direction. But she had plenty of time in the world to do it. She'd stop. Absolutely, Linda. If she had to reach, she'd have to stop, reposition, and usually find a little bit of support with one of her arms. But this is a smart system. She's worked out what gives us stability. With my grandmother, no, I wouldn't have tried to change it. But it really worked for her. It really worked for her. And that, you really see these really smart solutions to a problem. And they're not done intellectually. They're done through sensation. Do you know what I mean? This is what lets me keep moving. I need more support. There's the counterbalance. Off she'd go. She could actually walk quite a long way. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it just changes what you focus on, doesn't it? Nice.
Yeah. But, she would have really benefited, because can you imagine if she's here and she, that she'd had that lesson and she could find she had a little bit more through here without tipping her off balance. Yeah? What could that have allowed her to do a little bit more of? So not taking away the support she's got, clarifying the support she's got, and then giving us some more options. So expanding his breathing possibilities, that's every FI lesson we give. Huh? That just as with, again, the lesson this morning, lots of them, could you all feel that getting all of this freer just let you breathe into, some of you, into ribs up here that probably never took a breath. Or maybe you'd got a breath there sometimes and then it sort of disappeared again. And, it's really powerful to send people home with breathing things. Do you know what I mean? Just put your hand there. Can you find that breath there again? And continuing to include more of Larry in his image of his movement. Spread his moving, keeping moving, not staying in one place too long. This connects to this, connects to this, connects to this, connects to this. Look, we're going to, no. Nothing's on its own. Everything influences everything else, so that he begins to get his interest. So, could you this time have a little bit of a beginning and an ending? Yeah, whatever it is you want to do, whether it's, this, or how do they reach their arms in different positions, when they're standing, how free, whatever you want, but have something that you're going to look at the beginning and the end. Yeah. So I'm not saying you do this always with an FI. We're just practicing. We're just doing something else, having another iteration of ideas that you can look at beginnings and endings. once you understand more what the lesson's about, that you can make it more appropriate to what the lesson is that you're doing. Okay, off you go. New partner.